Hi, it's Lee and welcome to the Tesla Economist. The fundamentals are out the window now for Tesla. Investors have moved on. The progress of the 4680 cells has never been asked anymore, nor mentioned, which was the fastest way Tesla was going to grow the EV business. Without those, they can only grow at the pace of third-party suppliers, still using a wet slurry technique, having to build factories with gigantic footprints. Yet, somehow, we're still told to expect Tesla to hit 20 million units a year run rate within 6.5 years, an increase of well over 10 times the current run rate. With the current technologies, techniques and processes that we know, this can only be achieved with the dry battery electrode process being solved, and a lot of factories using that technique being constructed. Otherwise, it will come down to LFP cells, which means we can forget about long-range EVs. We can probably hit around 300 miles of range on something like a Model 3, but there'll be no mass-produced vehicles any larger than that with a range of more than 300 miles, with the exception of what we have now. And of course, the Cybertruck, which will likely have to use Panasonic energy-dense 4680 cells to ramp next year, unless Tesla do make some breakthroughs with their Texas lines for the 4680 cells. Something that is possible, but like I said, no one is asking, and Tesla are acting coy about it. We haven't had any updates in regards to the 4680 progress for about a half a year, and the last update, they were at 2% of the target from Battery Day. But that's okay. Tesla didn't need to increase their deliveries and production numbers by that much in order to still become profitable and justify the current stock price, just on EV sales alone, assuming eventually that margins do increase somewhat, either by reducing costs or by raising prices. With Cybertruck, Mexico, a new factory, and some more ramping in Berlin and Texas, then we're up to around 6 to 7 million vehicles a year. That's a big jump from where we are today, which I think is a possibility to see in around 2026, if all goes well. And this wouldn't even require dry battery electrode process to be solved. Yet Tesla's stock price is running like this is happening much sooner, and if it goes off without any issues, the stock is on the rise, it's moving, and with some good news from Tesla, it's going to jump back to 300. Everyone wants it to happen, and it looks like there's going to be little resistance in the way. The stock is ready to party again. The only thing to stop it now is really some bad economic news, aside from black swans. But no bad news is good news. If everyone is getting by and adjusted to this new environment, then let the market keep running. It seems to have survived what got thrown at it, and still has a long way to go. Tesla is still making more cars than ever, more progress on FSD and robots, and plan to launch an affordable model for the masses sometime next year. This is what matters. In the meantime, earnings are somewhat moot. We don't care about profits or margins anymore. We just want to see some growth. Besides, whatever Model 3 and Y are doing is old news. We have 2 new models that are going to sell around 5 million units a year now, on top of them. And supposedly, at half the production cost of a Model 3. These numbers are far more exciting than current earnings. Okay, we had a setback with 4680s and couldn't get the costs down like we hoped, and the economy threw out high interest rates, eating into our margins. But the rates will be temporary, and Tesla haven't given up on their in-house sales yet. What we know is that what Tesla have achieved so far sounds like it is really hard for the likes of Ford or GM, with them now saying it's going to take them until about 2030 until they start seeing profits with EVs. We can only imagine how much further ahead Tesla will be again by then. It sounds like Ford and GM have not given up on EVs either. They're great marketing companies, including marketing research, implying they have their pulse in the industry and know where it is headed. It's headed to electric, but only if the price is right. And they can only get the price right if they can get costs down, like Tesla have already, and are about to again with the Gen 3 techniques. So it doesn't matter how high or low Tesla's profits are right now. The fact they're making profits seems to be good enough and impressive enough compared to all the competition. It's the fact Tesla's profits are so high right now relative to the competition losing a fortune, even when Tesla are selling their vehicles for less. We expect a good chance that EV costs are simply going to come down anyway. Most likely though, improved battery technologies, but then new manufacturing techniques. And I'm not even talking about Tesla's parallel production line. The saying, if you build it, they'll come, is almost apt. But it needs to be if you can build it affordably and at parity with ICE vehicles. Consumers will become more and more confident about EVs and those old concerns of battery degradation, range anxiety, or catching fire will eventually dwindle as EVs become the establishment. Hopefully, some Tesla advertising can help educate the market better too. And then the belief on FSD being solved becomes stronger and stronger over time too. Again, another reason not to look at the current profits or margins, as when that is solved, margins will pretty much triple, which makes Tesla extremely profitable, especially if they're selling in the multiple millions a year. I mean, it's only going to improve and become more impressive and give consumers and investors more confidence that it can be achieved, even if it's still years away. It's about confidence in the fact that it will actually happen, as there are still many who doubt it's even a possibility still, or even likely this decade. I've never cared less about what Tesla's earnings, margins, deliveries, or production will be for any quarter than this one. I have reached a new paradigm of this company, and whether I believe it's possible or not is irrelevant. Just like pretty much every other investor. Yes, investor, not fanboy. As at my core, I am an investor in this company, as much as I hope it will succeed and make a better future. But as an investor, it's not about what I think the company will do. It's about what I think the market will believe it can do. And not even what the market thinks now, or continually, but just at times. My investment is in the theory that the market will think Tesla is going to be as big as we believe, and it will get ahead of itself and likely bubble again and give crazy PE ratios. There'll be FOMO and all sorts of craziness. My belief is that some event like that will occur and the stock price will shoot up. However, if I think it's gone too high and gotten ahead of itself and realize it's still going to take years to fill with fundamentals, then I'll take some profits, especially if my investment has reached enough for me to retire an exuberant life. Then I believe the market will eventually run out of patience or enthusiasm as it realizes how long it actually does take to ramp up to 20 million EVs a year, or how perfect FSD has to be. The market is one crazy dude. It will start to believe in all sorts of things, you can guarantee that. It will believe in new paradigms, and sometimes they come true, sometimes they don't, and other times they just take a lot longer. The time isn't always right. I mean, look how long it took CDs to replace VHS. There were many attempts prior to DVDs, as early back in the 70s. EVs obviously aren't anything new either. We had them in the 19th century, but the world wasn't ready for them. Internal combustion was a better alternative at the time, especially if you were in a collision. I mean, in a usual collision, you'll likely receive a reasonable industry, but it was much worse if you had sulfuric acid all over you too. I know GM's EV1 was awesome and popular in the 90s too, but it wasn't practical back then either. The range wasn't what was required. We needed lithium-ion cells to have any chance of EVs being practical. Don't get me wrong, I believe in Tesla and I believe in Elon, but I don't believe in Elon's timelines. I got burnt too hard believing too much. I think I have found a more realistic level now, and am an investor before a fanboy when playing with my retirement and money to give my children as good a life as I can. My belief now is the market will get really excited about AI and the possibility of what Tesla can do with AI, potentially well before it will manifest, along with the market realizing again how much further ahead Tesla is than GM and Ford. If it bubbles hard in the meantime, and Tesla hits something like $1,000 or $2,000, and we're still years away, I think it will likely drop again, and said enthusiasm will fizzle out until the next run. I'm just saying this is a possibility and something I want to prepare for. I'm investing in what I think the market will believe will happen, rather than what I think will actually happen, as it's the market that dictates the stock price, not me.
Hi there, I'm using Verbalate AI video translation and lip sync software. It's pretty amazing. Watch this.
I can translate my videos into other languages. For example, I am now speaking Hindi.
नमस्ते, मैं पहली बार हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन वर्बलेट इसे इतना आसान बना देता है.
Or how about Spanish?
Hola, vaya, increíble.
También puedo hablar español.
Sign up at verbalate.ai today to gain early access to trial the product for creators and strategic partners, and gain the ability to translate and lip sync videos in all major languages. You can view the info in the description below.